Heard all about EXP, but think you're too late to the party? Well, I did too. You see, I said no to EXP for over 4 years. I thought I had already missed the big opportunity, but I eventually slowed down long enough to actually give it a look and understand how it worked. And I said, what the heck? Let me give it a shot. That and more of my journey, and specifically the 5 areas of focus that I focused on to grow from 0 to over 1,000 in 1 year. That coming up next on this video. Hi, I'm John Mikish, and on this channel, I share proven strategies and systems that I use to grow and scale my real estate business. They say the best time to plant a tree is 30 years ago, and the second best time to plant a tree is today. And when I first came around to EXP, I had all the same fears that you probably have too. And let's be honest, those doubts, those fears, those are what are going to keep us and hold us back from the life that we truly want to have. And I knew that people at EXP were living the life that I wanted to have. I had just come off the road after traveling the country with my family for 18 months. I hadn't worked during that time at all. And you could say my contacts in real estate were pretty cold. There was months where I didn't even turn my cell phone on. I actually got a Garmin to mount up in the windshield of our RV so that I didn't have to turn my phone on to figure out where I was going. And I just totally unplugged. It was amazing, but I had that doubt like, hey, did I miss this opportunity with EXP? Are people even going to remember who I am when I start reaching out to people? Is my company going to want to follow me into this when I haven't really engaged with them and plugged in with them? I had all those same feelings, but I'm going to share in this video what I ended up doing and how I accomplished what I did by focusing in primarily 5 key areas of my business. So from day one, I had an amazing support system and I followed their lead and the system that they laid out for me from day one. So in the beginning of September in 2020, I brought my independent real estate company over to EXP and we had 15 agents at the time. But we went on to grow to over 1,000 agents in my first year. It really was quite simple when you break it down. I did the same thing that allowed me to have success in real estate, which was to find somebody that was already where I wanted to be and plug in and be coachable to what they were trying to tell me to do. You see, when I started my real estate career, I struggled in the beginning because I was trying to do it my way. And I was trying to do it from, all the thoughts and ideas that I had. But those ideas only got me so far. They got me to where I was. And maybe your real estate career right now is similar. You've done everything you know how to do. You maybe even done some coaching at one point, but you've plateaued or you hit an area where you feel like you're stuck and you can't grow anymore or you can't go any further. That's the perfect opportunity to resurrender and be coachable and find some people that are where you want to be and plug into how they're doing things and take the advice that they have, because you can't really expand your real estate business without something new coming in. Whether it's a new marketing initiative, a new technology, a new system, or in this case, a new idea. And I was ready for a new idea. So I plugged in and I listened and I went to work. The 5 things that I focused on once I came over to EXP were this. Number 1, I made a list. And not only did I make a list, but I sorted the list based on those that were in the company already and how they told me to go after these agents based on where they were in their career and what pain points they might be feeling too. So I built out my list with all my contacts. I remember going through my cell phone. I went through my cell phone. I was like, oh yeah, that person's in real estate. I forgot about them. Because we think we remember everybody, but after a 20 plus year career in real estate, there were just people that I was like, oh yeah, that person. I haven't coached with them in a while. And I put them on my list. That was step 1. And then I graded that list based on how well I knew them and also how influential they were in their business. So if they were a team leader or a broker owner, I would put them up towards the top of my list because they had demonstrated a lot of leadership and influence in their business. And that was grading my list for maximum efficiency. Number 2, I got them on the phone. Nothing happens at EXP until you talk to somebody. So you can have all the greatest tools and systems and you can know EXP and the business model inside out. But if you don't talk to people, you're not going to give them the opportunity to say yes or say no to this opportunity. And I always say, I'm never selling somebody EXP. I just want to share it with them because I saw what it did for me. It took a lot of stress off my plate. It took a lot of the brokerage operations off my plate. It gave me an ability to scale not only in my market more effectively, but also much more outside of my market. So I wasn't just, geographically limited to that area that I was selling real estate in, but I could share what EXP did for me with my friends around the country, even around the world, and they could take advantage of the same great benefits that I was taking advantage of. And if it wasn't for them, no problem. One thing that I made sure of was from day one, I wasn't going to try to sell this to people, and I wasn't going to be a pester to people, but I was only going to share what my experience was and help them see the same thing that I saw, which was an amazing opportunity to do what I was already doing, but on a platform with a vehicle that was going to give me so much more opportunity and upside long term. So transitioning from number 2, I got them on the phone, to number 3 was people were saying yes. People were like, man, John, thank you. Like, I never really looked at it that way, or I never really slowed down and looked at it at all, but I trust you and I see that you made the move and you're excited about it. So they would take a look at it. And then a lot of them said yes too. And the next thing that I had to do is I had to get really focused on what is the training. You see, when I got into EXP, I was like a sponge. I was ready to learn. I was rested from my 1.5 year long trip. And I just asked everybody, like, what's the best way to do this? And like, I don't want to do it this way and I don't want to be annoying, but like, I do want to share this message with people. And they would tell me, they would say, this is the best way to do it. And I started to catalog all of those different ideas and coaching moments that I had with people that were already successful at EXP. But I felt like EXP was lacking a training that was cohesive, that would allow new people like myself to get up to speed quickly. So the third thing I focused on was creating the training. And it was really pretty simple. And most of the training that I still use today, having been in EXP for over 2.5 years, is the same training that I initially created when I was just 30 days new in EXP, because it's a really simple system once you understand it. So I developed this 4-step system. I started building out slides and I started teaching those that were joining my organization how to do this based on everything I had learned up to that moment, which was oftentimes something I might have learned the day before. I was just staying one step ahead of my organization. And the fourth thing I did was I got my people to events. You see, early on when I joined EXP in my very first month, I had the opportunity to go to an EXP regional event, and it was super impactful for me. I met some of the top people in the company. I met some of the people that worked on the corporate side. And I just remember coming out of that experience being like, oh, wow, this is much bigger than I even thought it was before. And it was so motivating for me to see and hear about the journeys of the people that went before me. So I said, okay, I got these new people in with me now. I got to get them to an event so they can experience the same thing. And I was very diligent and persistent about getting my new people that were in EXP to those big events. And what happened is they had the same experience or better, because the experiences that we went to were even bigger events than I had initially been to. And we did it together and we got all of our people there, and that started to duplicate out in my organization. So a whole bunch of people went to the next big event with me. And then we came out of that event. We were like, wow, this is like amazing. It's like even more incredible than we thought it was going to be. The culture and the collaboration at this company is unlike anything we've ever seen. And we came back and we talked to more people and we got even more people to the next event. And it was building this organization event by event. There's no doubt and no way that I could have built it as big as I did, as quick as I did, without the events. And I just got to, tip my hat to all the leaders at EXP and what they do to put on these events, because after being in real estate for 20 plus years, having been to countless real estate coaching events, masterminds, national events, I had never experienced what I felt at these events before. It was just truly something different that you have to experience to understand. But the amount of sharing and collaboration and helping that we do at these events, the excitement, the energy in the room was unlike anything I'd ever felt before. So you got to get your people to the big events. And then number 5, I focused on duplication, and specifically what our simple 4-step process was to help people learn and understand what EXP really is. And that's the same thing I still do today. When I talk to somebody and, they've heard about EXP, people have talked to them about it, and they've heard little bits and pieces, and they've made decisions or opinions about EXP based on that little bit, that little piecemeal that they've heard, but it's never really all come together and clicked for them. What I find even to this day is if someone will sit down and actually analyze the company and the business model relative to what they currently have and really do their due diligence on it, with very rare exception, they all eventually come. Because when you really understand all that it offers, it's kind of like, what is there not to like? I can sell real estate here just like I was selling real estate before, but I have so much more upside potential, not only to sell more real estate and grow my real estate business, my sales business, which I think the market is finally, getting in step with us about, because they used to say, well, you're just a recruiting company. It's like, well, if that was true, we wouldn't be number one in transactions and number one in volume in the country for independents and soon to be for any real estate company in the world. So, what they're starting to realize is that yes, we are recruiting agents at scale. Yes, we are growing faster than any real estate company in the history of real estate. But even more impressive than that is our sales growth. Our sales growth is actually leading the way out ahead of our recruiting growth. And I think that's really amazing. So back to what people tell me all the time. I missed it, John. I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I should have signed up when that person talked to me 2 years ago. And I don't disagree with you. But I do disagree that you think that you've missed the opportunity as a whole, because I think the greatest days of growth that we're going to have as a company are still in front of us. And the reason I say that is because with all likelihood, we're going to double in size from where we are now just in the US. And at the same time, we're opening up 22 more countries over the next 2 years. And we already have 20 plus countries open now. So when you think about the growth and how this thing grows, so like my business is now in 6 different countries, but I didn't know any of those people in those other countries. But I knew people in this country who knew people who knew people who knew people, and it led me to other countries. So your business is going to grow internationally if you build this, whether you know people in other countries or not. And when you think about the size of the growth, they say there's somewhere north of 25 million real estate agents worldwide, and we have 87,000 right now. We're going to grow in a short period of time to be double the size we are now. And, you just have so much opportunity in front of you. And you really need to consider what would even a fraction of that growth look like if you were to get even the smallest piece of it. And what does it look like if you don't do EXP? If you stay in the lane that you're in, what does that look like? What does retirement look like for you? When does retirement look like it's going to happen for you? And all I say is when I talk to people is we have an opportunity here for you to stay on the same path you're on, but add so many more different pillars of opportunity to your real estate career that you just don't have otherwise. Whether it be the stock options, the revenue share, or even the healthcare that we're offering right now. Many people, their financial future is in jeopardy because they don't have adequate health coverage for them and their family. And should something happen, and likely when something happens, right? Like something's eventually going to happen to all of us. If you're not covered, all of that hard work and all those savings that you've put away all over the years could be wiped out with one major medical incident. So, the health insurance is huge, and there's just so much to like. The free coaching and the training. And I just think that when people look at it and they slow down, what I did was awesome and it definitely changed my life. But I think many more people are going to come along in our next wave of growth than the last, 13 plus years that we've been growing as a company to get to this point. You're going to see that we're going to double in size in just a couple short years from now. And all of that growth that we've experienced over the last 13 years will be there and compressed for somebody who starts today to take advantage of. So if you got value from this video, please hit the like and subscribe button, releasing more great content about how I grew my real estate business, what I've learned along the way, and the tools and strategies that I used to become a top producer in my marketplace, as well as what I'm learning day in and day out with EXP from some of the other members and just what it's doing in my life through the RevShare opportunity. And if you'd like to talk more, even if you have doubts, like even if you're saying, I got these 3 reasons why it would never work for me, or I know it couldn't work for me because of my team structure, or I don't understand, like reach out to me, schedule a free strategy session. Like I said earlier in this video, I never sell anybody into EXP, but I will share it with you in a quality way where you'll probably understand it and see it from a different perspective than you ever have before. And if you decide that it's for you, we'll be here to support you every step of the way and help you grow your real estate sales business and also build something for the future.